I want to thank everybody. Please take your seats. Let's relax and enjoy ourselves. So, I'm going to be brief because I want to leave most of the time for Bill Gertz to get up here and talk to people. Bill Gertz is, I think, one of the most knowledgeable, if not the most knowledgeable American out there, American writer about the threat of the Chinese Communist Party. But I want to say something about why we came here today in the commemoration. 1 year ago today, out in this harbor in front of the Statue of Liberty, which is a symbol throughout the world of freedom and liberty, Miles Guo and other folks working on the foundation of the new federal state, we had a global event out there in the harbor and beamed it into Beijing for them to see on the commemoration of Tiananmen Square, which they don't want to talk about. The new federal state of China, and the reason that this is about you, this entire commemoration is about you and the global audience and all the whistleblower movement, the Rule of Law Foundation, all Miles Guo's movement, G News, GTV, and particularly you, Lao Beijing, Old Hundred Names, which are the deplorables of China. You are setting an example for the rest of the world, because the new federal state of China stands for a lot of things, of democracy and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and freedom of religion. But fundamentally, it stands for one simple thing: the total and complete destruction of the Chinese Communist Party now. The reason that you're heroes, the reason that the entire world looks upon you, not Miles Guo, not myself, not Bill Gertz, not even Mr. Ha in Spain and his incredible wife, all the people that are in leadership positions, they really focus on you because they are nervous. The world's elites are very nervous, and they're nervous about one thing: that the Chinese people, after 10, 15, 20,000 years, have had enough of this. They've had enough of no freedom. They've had enough of no freedom of assembly, no freedom of religion, and not being able to live their lives in the way that they want to live it. You stand for the one most important thing in the world today: the freedom of the Chinese people, and how that happens is the total and complete destruction of the Chinese Communist Party now. Why does the Chinese Communist Party fear Hong Kong? Why do they fear Taiwan? Why do they fear the Rule of Law Society? Why do they fear the Rule of Law Foundation? Why do they fear Miles Guo, the whistleblower movement, Dr. Li Mingyang? Why do they fear G News, GTV? And most importantly, why do they fear the new federal state of China? Simple: because it represents a new generation of Chinese that have had it. And what they demand is one simple thing that they've told the elites of the world, the Wall Street elites, the elites in the City of London, the political elites, the media elites. They demand something quite simple: the total and complete destruction of the Chinese Communist Party. The new federal state offers itself as an alternative for the Chinese people. And here's the reason: the Chinese Communist Party is not a legitimate government. It's not a legitimate government of China or the Chinese people. It is a transnational criminal organization that's sole purpose in life is to oppress the Chinese people, keep the Chinese people in slavery, and by doing so, partner with the rest of the elites in the world to keep down all working class and middle class people throughout the world. And they've got partners in every government, they've got partners in every university, in every cultural institution, and particularly in the financial institutions of the City of London and Wall Street. And the power of the new federal state of China is not Americans, it's not Europeans, it's the Chinese people have said, we are going to stop this. After 10, 15, 20,000 years of the greatest civilization on earth and the oldest civilization, we in our generation and your generation are going to bring freedom to the Chinese people. How? Simple. the complete and total destruction of the Chinese Communist Party. One last thing before I turn it over to Bill Gertz. What Miles Guo and the Rule of Law Foundation, the Rule of Law Society, what G News, GTV, and particularly the New Federal State, the whistleblower movement, the quality of people that you have brought here today. You're going to have General Mike Flynn. You're going to have Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell at My Pillow today is suing. He's suing in federal court for $2 billion. He's suing Dominion. And he's suing Dominion because of the Chinese Communist Party. He's going to show in court that the Chinese Communist Party actually did cyber attacks on our November 3rd election, and he's going to prove that the Chinese Communist Party, besides being in back of the Wuhan virus, the CCP virus out of Wuhan, which was to destroy the people in Hubei province and in Wuhan, right? They're totally responsible for that, in cahoots with Tony Fauci and NIH and other institutions throughout the world that helped finance it and looked the other way when they were doing it. They're in back of Michael Lindell will argue, and tonight he's going to show you a short film and then make a speech to you to show you the Chinese Communist Party is involved in that. You've got Colonel Selin, you've got Rudy Giuliani, you have Jack Posobiec, you have Peter Navarro, right? You have Natalie Winters, you have Raheem Kassam. Dozens and dozens of Americans and people throughout the world, they're united in your cause. And why? Because of your bravery, your fearlessness, your urgency to do the only thing that matters in the world today, the total and complete destruction of the Chinese Communist Party. Everybody realizes, because you see the attacks Miles Guo has, you see the attacks that Dr. Li Ming Yang has, you see the attacks of all these heroes that come forward. I'm about to introduce a gentleman that's been under these attacks for decades, because like a lonely voice in the wilderness, Bill Gertz had the courage to stand up in major media and report day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, year in and year out about the Chinese Communist Party. It was an illegitimate regime. It was an existential threat, not simply to the United States of America, not simply to the West. Its number one threat is to the Chinese people, whether that's in Wuhan, Hubei province, anywhere in mainland China. And if you so dare to leave mainland China, not because you don't love your country and you don't love your family, but you've got to go somewhere you have some freedom and can actually grow and prosper. The diaspora of the Chinese people, that is the number one threat, and that is what the Chinese Communist Party looks to destroy. That is why our solution here is very simple. Right now, in the first half of the 20th century, the world has to come together for one thing: the total and complete destruction, root and branch, of the Chinese Communist Party. Thank you.